What's up, Mesa Falcons? Today's episode of the CovertGoPodcast is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com. Use the promo code CGBPod to show that you enjoy this type of content at checkout at CoolStuffInc.com. Now let's dive into it. Cimo!
People missed you yelling the name. People missed you yelling the name.
Whoa. I know. That I really paid it off this time. Do you think that was enough? Was that enough?
I think you could have gone like 5 seconds longer. So maybe next video.
Better?
Yeah, it's
okay.
Better. It's better. I think you perfectly encapsulated the number of O's this time. Yeah.
All right, beautiful. Welcome back to the show. Are you ready for the deeper dive into Final Fantasy? People loved the last one we did. Yeah,
I mean, it's right around the corner, I think, from the time this video is probably going to go live, and it's looking to be a really hype set, so I'm down. What format we talking? We talking Commander? What are we doing?
We're doing Standard. Today,
Standard.
Yep. Well, it's a standard legal set, and it's the first. Let me think about this. Is this true? This is true. It is the first Universes Beyond standard legal set, and is entering the largest standard card pool ever. So there's a lot of speculation about.
And you're going to have these cards for like years, right? Like a long time.
Yes, these are going to be legal and standard for 3 years, which is it better be, because this is also. Here's what's been said. Here's what they've said about the set. Best-selling set in Magic history.
I believe it.
Just from pre-orders.
I believe it.
Just from pre-orders.
I've seen some of these prices on the peripheral on my like social media accounts, and Wizards, if you want to send me some product, I'll open it for you, but I don't know if I'm going to be buying it myself.
Most expensive Magic the Gathering expansion set of all time, not close, and by far the most expensive standard legal set of all time. Standard was always supposed to be the accessible format. Look at these prices.
I was about to say, like,
scary,
is that gonna be a problem, like from cards being price prohibitive? Because Yu-Gi-Oh has that problem, I would say, pretty frequently, where every time we get a new set and there's like power cards that like every deck needs to play, they'll be like $100 plus, and people will pay it, but they're not happy about it.
Yeah. Nobody's happy about this. And I will say it depends. If the cards are good, which is part of what we're here to decide today by looking at the cards. Okay. If the cards are good, people will need to acquire them. If they need to acquire them, that will drive demand. There is already demand that is inflated. The other factor is Wizards has this. They have it for 3 years. They can print the hell out of it.
Yep.
They can do that.
They can. And if they want to. If they want to.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the mega inflation is coming on the side of collector boosters and on the side of the commander decks that are collector decks. But that doesn't mean that the prices for just a booster pack aren't all stupidly high.
Sure,
they are. Sure. The singles prices are stupidly high. But they can print this into the ground and drive that down. There is a lot of speculation about how much of this is pre-order hype and how much of this is real. So
time will tell. Time will tell.
And like how playable and how powerful these cards are will drive that. It will. So are you ready to do our part and evaluate and rate these cards for standard play?
How are we going to rate these? Like we can't do if it's like banned or anything. So what's the game today?
Right. So yeah, we're yapping, but I've got a rating system that Libby's going to put on the screen that I have sent over to you. We're going to use a classic 5-star rating system. Good old 5-star rating system. Number 1, you give it a 1-star. That means it gets no play in standard.
Oh God, you're gonna hold me to this, and then oh my God, when this set comes out, I'm gonna get roasted in this. Oh,
that's right. But we cross that bridge when it gets there. And
you're giving me an idea for a future video with you, by the way. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful.
This is the game we play. Number 2. If you give it a 2, it's played in a niche deck.
Okay.
Not like the best deck. There is a deck
like a
in
rogue
the format that's okay. Yeah, like a rogue deck, and it's only played in that deck. Number 3, it is a role player. It is a consistent sideboard card or a 1 of or a 2 of in a competitive strategy or a variety of strategies. It pops up a good amount, but it isn't what the deck is built around.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does, yes.
Yeah, like a really, like a good, like an okay, like kind of removal spell that hits the format in the right way would be a 3. Okay. Number 4, Staple. This is it has an important role in an A or S tier deck or across multiple B+ tier decks. Like this is a card that is a cut above the other competitors for its slot. So it sees regular play often as a 4 of. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay. Number 5. This is a ban candidate. This is a card people will be talking about banning in the future because it creates an A+ tier deck or is present in multiple A+ tier decks. The player who maximizes this card often wins the game. That's what we're looking at for 5 stars.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. Are you going to be rating these as well then so that people can come back and roast you in the comments?
Yes, I will.
So I mean, you already picked the cards out, which is kind of unfair, but, you know, we'll see.
It's a little unfair. I picked most of the rares and mythics, only disqualifying things that I thought were obvious ones. And you are getting half of my review. The other half is going to go to Rarin, so we'll see who gets more right. Fair.
We'll see. That's the best part. People can circle back to these videos after the fact and see.
Absolutely. So it's going to be a very interesting review. So are you ready to get into our first card?
Yes, sir. Let's see it.
We'll do that with first a word from our sponsors. Today's video is sponsored by Boot.dev. Why is everything so expensive? What is happening out there? Maybe it's time to learn to code with Boot.dev. Learn backend web development from start to finish in Python, Go, or JavaScript. I didn't know what those words meant until I did the first few courses with Boot.dev. The smartest way to learn to code, and I know you guys are smart, is to always stay engaged and never get bored. Boot.dev excels at this by giving you quests, creating a game-type RPG, while teaching you the skills you need to know. You can't learn to code without doing what you'll do on the job, which is writing a lot of code and completing real projects. You will earn XP, levels, achievements, and you'll complete quests to help get a top spot in the global leaderboard. Programmers have amazing earning potential. The median salary for back-end developers in the US in 2024 was over $100,000. $100,000. So don't wait another minute to improve your future job prospects. Go to boot.dev and try out the courses for free. Then use my code CovertGoBlue to get 25% off your entire first year if you choose the annual plan. Don't delay and start today. Check out boot.dev and thank you for sponsoring this video. Card number 1. We're gonna start with a card with a lot of buzz on the internet already.
Cloud Midgar Mercenary. Oh God, I can't say stuff, but okay. It's you already know what I was thinking, so we'll get to it. Two white for a legendary creature human soldier mercenary because he needs more tags in his legendary creature box. I think they could have shoved a 4th one in there, to be honest. And it's a mythic. When Cloud enters, search your library for an equipment card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. As long as Cloud is equipped, if any ability of Cloud or an equipment attached to it triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. Okay. That seems pretty good. I have a question, and I'm not sure if you're allowed to answer it based off of this. But can I talk about Cloud's weapon that we know about?
we can talk about that.
Okay.
We can go over that. In fact, we could rate that card as well if you're interested.
If you want to throw it up, because I already know it exists, because I may or may not have already played with such card. Hint, hint, wink, wink. I don't know when this is going live. But correct. There we go. The Buster Sword. I think it's only fitting to talk about Cloud in the context of the Buster Sword, especially because I remembered it was a 3 cost. So being able to just Cloud search it, you can immediately play it on the following turn. Seems pretty good. So the Buster Sword is a 3-mana artifact equipment that gives an equipped creature +3/+2. And when an equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card, then may cast a spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to the damage without paying its mana cost. Unfortunately, it does have an equip cost of 2, but that would put Cloud up to a 5/3. And so if he hits, then he's able to let you cast any card from your hand for free that is 5 or less, if I'm understanding that correctly.
And do it again.
And do it twice because of the second effect on Cloud. Correct. I was getting to that, but just wanted to clarify that that was how that worked. That seems pretty damn good to me. I think the biggest problem is the fact that it has the equip cost of 2. I think he has I think the other Cloud, it might be the Precon Cloud. Cloud can immediately equip an equipment to it when it's either when it enters or just part of like its ability. I forget which. But that Cloud costs 5, so that's a much bigger difference comparatively speaking. You also don't have to use the Buster Sword. I imagine there might just be other better weapons in the game, or equipment rather.
Let's get down to that.
Okay.
Because that is a huge part of the context, is what is available in Standard.
Okay.
So,
what is the best sword or weapon in a commander that you would equip to Cloud?
Well, the best sword or weapon in Standard right now?
Correct. Yes. I'm
going to show you what people would currently consider a 5. People have talked about banning this card.
All right, I'm in. Corey Steel Cutter. This is 1 in a red for equipment. It gives it +1/+1 and trample and haste. Okay. And then Flurry. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, create a 1/1 white monk creature token with prowess. You may attach this equipment to it. And then it equips for 1 and a red. Interesting. Okay. So people are talking about banning this card.
Yes.
Interesting.
What do you think of this card?
I guess it's like a very aggressive card if you're playing like a super mega aggro deck, I suppose. It's very like favorably costed. It just gives you monks with prowess, and then like with Cloud, you could do that twice. So then you get 2 monks with prowess.
Oh my gosh, yeah, if it triggers while attached to Cloud, yeah.
Okay. And then it also gives Cloud trample and haste, which is like probably not super relevant. I mean, I guess if you're playing this on like 4, right? You play Cloud, then play the steel. Oh no, then you still have to equip it though. So what? You would Cloud on 2, search this, then 3.
You play the Cutter and you play a 1 mana spell and you immediately make a 2/2 with trample and haste.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty good. So we're going to be like what's the white-red faction again?
Boros.
So like some Boros aggro deck might be born of this. I can see it. The
Corey Steel Cutter already has decks across like mono-red. The most popular is blue-red. Is it prowess? Okay. But there's also green-red Steel Cutter. There's also red-white Steel Cutter. Like these decks pop up, as niche strategies. So there's already a lot of decks maximizing the Cutter. And it is very much a card that right now when players are maximizing it, basically casting 2 spells a turn and consistently triggering it, that the person with the Cutter being maximized is heavily favored. It's a hard card to answer because artifact removal isn't popular at the moment.
Okay, that's good to know as well. And especially just since Cloud can double trigger stuff too, I feel like that just gets way out of hand. You could argue that it's maybe potentially win more if the card's already really good, but it could be the next best version of this deck potentially. I mean, who knows, right? So
can I show you another card?
Yeah,
One
sure.
more?
Sure. I was about to give my evaluation, but if you want to show me another one, I'm in.
I'm going to show you another card that, like, this is funny because it was one of the more hyped cards in Aether Drift.
The Aether Spark. This is a 4-mana legendary artifact. It's an artifact planeswalker. That's so interesting. Okay.
That is also an equipment.
That is also an equipment. Yeah, I was about to say. Okay. As long as the Aether Spark is attached to a creature, the Aether Spark can't be attacked and has... Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage during your turn, put that many loyalty counters on the Aether Spark. Interesting. +1, attach the Aether Spark to up to 1 target creature you control. Put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. -5, draw 2 cards. And then -10, add 10 mana of any one color. So this was like sort of the prize of the Aether Drift set. Was that like prize in the sense of like the lore, not like in the chase card sense?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Also prized in the chase card sense because this was the card they chose to make serialized copies of in that set.
Okay, so it's both actually. This is interesting because then so you can go Cloud on 2 or 3, then Aether Spark on 4 because you can search it, and then this can automatically equip by just +1ing it. And then it's neat because the double trigger from Cloud means it goes up to +1/+1 on that creature. So he goes up to a 3/2. So if he hits, that triggers the thing twice. So then if he goes like face, it adds 6. So then you can add 10 mana of any color on the next turn. I'm understanding that right? Or am I missing something?
I think so.
I think
that sounds right to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
the ability to gain the loyalty triggers twice, and Cloud searches it.
Cloud tutors it, so like you don't need to worry about having the combo in hand, which I know like, you know, tutors in your game are a lot different than our game, but that seems pretty good. I mean, like 10 mana on turn 5. Maybe if you're playing this in some sort of like a green-white deck, you can even get to this faster potentially because you could ramp a little bit in the early. So you could go like turn 1, maybe do nothing. Turn 2, I don't know. Like, I think there's a way to like skip a turn and like getting this set up.
Llanowar Elves is a turn 1, make an extra mana. Yeah.
Okay, so you can play that on 1, and so then you technically have 3 mana turn 2, and then you have 4 mana on turn 4. So you go turn 1 Llanowar, turn 2 Cloud, turn 3 Aether Spark. Now you have 10 mana, ideally.
Yeah, and it's not easy to deal with.
No, but it does have to do damage. So, okay, let me ask this question. So whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage, does that mean just to anything? Like if it attacks a creature, a face?
That's exactly what that means.
Okay, I want to make sure because that could be perceived as like maybe it has to be like face damage or something. Because I think the other Cloud has to do damage to face to get the triggers on him.
Commander Cloud, yeah.
You're right, Commander
Cloud
yes.
does.
We haven't seen Commander Cloud, but from what I recall, that seems pretty strong. That seems pretty strong. You can play 4 of that. You can play 4 of that.
Mm-hmm. Or just 1.
You could just play 1. You don't need to play 4 because you can search it. Yeah, you're right. I guess, like, what are you doing with 10? I mean, granted, it's 10 mana. I'm just thinking, like, I mean, at that point, you just, like, probably win the game, right? You have so much value.
If you don't have a use for it, just draw 2 cards.
I mean, you could just draw 2. Like, that's also... And you could just do it again next turn. Because if he's still doing combat damage, you still have you're going to juice this back up. You go -5, right? So then you're at 5, let's say. And then just juice him back up another 10 or 6 or whatever. And then you're back at the -10 for the next turn if you need it. So... That's just pretty strong.
It's just another way that I've thought of drawing 2 cards today.
I'm also looking at this from the perspective from Wizards and Square... like business-wise, I feel like they would want to have the Final Fantasy cards be pushed that they're playable. Because I think it'd be very disappointing if they release the cards and they're lackluster and people don't play with them. So I think there's like a financial incentive for them to push these cards hard that you want to, like, they want them to see play because obviously that's good for their brand, right? For both brands at the end of the day. I don't know about band candidate. I think I'm in like staple for this one. So I think I'm going to give this one 4 stars for the Cloud.
You're going to give Cloud Midgard Mercenary 4 stars.
I'm going to give him 4 stars. It seems like it seems simple enough to pull off, and it seems like the payoff is huge. In terms of band candidate, I feel like that's tough. Like, there are ways to like interact with this. And like, I don't know what other oppressive things like might be in the format already. So like, if they really wanted to like do something about it, because like that's the other problem, right? Is are they gonna want to ban Final Fantasy cards? Because that kind of goes against like the whole collaboration, right? Because now it's like, oh, you can't play these Final Fantasy cards anymore. I feel like if anything, if this combo like were to be problematic, whether with Aether Spark or Steel Cutter, they ban one of those cards before they ban Cloud, in my opinion. So I'm gonna give it a 4 star for that reason.
Okay, I'm going to give Cloud 2.
Okay. You don't think it's there? You don't think it's there?
I'm saying that there will be like a niche equipment deck, but I don't think it will be the best deck. I think that Cloud is a good card, but I don't think that having double white into then appropriate mana to do what you need to do, especially with like a Corey Steel Cutter, is trivial. Okay. I'm very concerned that equipping anything to a specific creature is a recipe for disaster.
Sure,
and because of removal. Yep,
yeah.
Cheap removal in the format is king at the moment. It's a very fast format.
Okay.
And the good thing about the Cutter, and this is honestly, in my opinion, this is what will make or break Cloud, is if the Cutter is just being maximized to that extent that you want to play white to search up the Cutter as opposed to the Cutter plus other cards. Now, Where I might be wrong is if equipment becomes so good as an archetype, and there are other great payoffs for it, that Cloud becomes a staple for that reason. That you have to, that maximizing other equipment cards is just that good. But historically, equipment has been a bad archetype in Magic because you invest in putting things on creatures and then the creature dies.
The creature dies, yeah. Unless there's protection from either the creature or the artifact itself.
Exactly. So,
okay.
I'm glad we start off with a little division in the ranks.
I'll say so.
Because I could be wrong on this one. I understand.
I'm probably the one who's wrong on this one, but we'll see. That's the fun of this, right? That's the fun of this. We'll see.
Yeah. Let's get another white card. This card seems like something. The Worst Possible Commander Show is coming to MagicCon Las Vegas. We will be live playing in front of the crowd at 11 a.m. on Sunday, June 22nd. So see me, CGB, as well as Shay against Voxy and Amy the Amazonian, throwing down with some of the more classic and beloved commanders in the game. So come to the Worst Possible Commander Show live at 11 a.m. on Sunday at MagicCon Las Vegas. There's a link in the description to make sure that you get your tickets today. As always, we'll see you there, and you're cool.
Summon Knights of Round. This is 6 and 2 white. Oof. Okay. So for Saga chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4, you create 3 2/2 white knight creature tokens. And in chapter 5, Ultimate End, other creatures you control get +2/+2 until the end of turn. Put an indestructible counter on each of them. And if I'm reading this correctly, the Saga itself has indestructible.
It does.
Is a 3/3.
I
just realized it's a Saga that is also a creature. I missed that initially. Is that the first time they've done this?
This is the first time they've had sagas that are also creatures, and there are multiple cards in the set that do it.
Okay. So you play this on 8. Turn 1, you get 3 2/2 white knights, and then turn 2, you get more, and then turn 3, you get more, turn 4, you get more, and then turn 5, you buff everything up and you make them indestructible. And then this goes away.
Yeah.
Very flavorful. I loved when you showed me Shiva when we first did the Final Fantasy. Just the whole, the way they did the summons, I think was really cool. This one's tough. I don't know how, can I ask how fast or slow the standard format is?
Incredibly fast.
Okay.
Death on turn 3 is totally happenable, and 4 is often.
Wow. Okay. So that alone tells me this card's probably going to be a 1 or maybe a 2, because even if you're playing this in some sort of ramping deck, let's say you're playing white green, when are you going to be able to get this off ideally? Turn 4, 5, maybe 6, right? And by then the game's probably over most of the time. So as cool as this is, it's just I can't, especially with you saying how fast the format is, I don't know if I can justifiably give this card anything above a 1 or a 2. Unless someone finds some way to break it, but...
Well, I'm going to put it like this.
Okay.
There is no way that casting this for 8 mana is even in the realm of standard strategy.
Dead. You're dead.
Yeah. What we need to be talking about is that there are various ways to cheat this out consistently on turn 4 and possibly on turn 3.
How do you cheat it out, if you don't mind me asking?
So there's a number of cards. One of the easier ones
Give me the easy ones.
Yep. Zombify is in standard. That's 4 mana to return target creature from graveyard to battlefield.
Oh, because it's a creature. Up. Okay. So if you have a way to mill this somehow or discard it from your hand, then you zombify it and then it's active. Okay. But even then, though, that still seems like such... If you don't have the combo pieces for this, I feel like this is just a brick in your hand and you can't do anything. I'll be nice and give it a 2 because there is the potential you could do it, and then you're creating the white knights, so that does put up sort of a wall against these super turbo aggro decks.
Yeah.
So I'll give it a 2. I'll give it a 2. Maybe there's something here, but I really want to give it a 1, but I kind of want to give it the benefit of the doubt and say it's cool, maybe a 2.
All right. I'm going to give it I'm tempted to give it a 1. My biggest thing with this is that unlike a lot of the big reanimatable cards right now, there are some very big reanimatable cards that have lifelink that can stabilize the battlefield if they survive. but they die to like an edict effect. A Liliana of the Veil, for example, comes down, makes you sacrifice one creature. If that's your only creature, you never gain that life, you die anyway. If there's a bounce spell or some kind of thing that can interact with the one big thing, you die anyway.
Okay.
What I like about Summon Knights of the Round is if you reanimate this, you have a board. You have an indestructible body, so a board wipe on its own doesn't solve it, and then another set comes back the very next turn.
Yeah.
So in a way, if the format is like going wide, and if they have the edict effects to deal with individual reanimated things, which is what seems to keep Reanimator down, because you can have almost any 7-drop or higher card on turn 4 right now, and they're not winning games.
Sure.
So this goes wide, so it can block a number of things, and one removal spell or one edict spell doesn't solve it. So that's why I'm curious if this will give Reanimator a shot.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. I like that it has that different attack angle and that a board wipe doesn't stop it. It has to be an exile board wipe, which is getting much rarer in the format. So I'm going to give this a 2 as well. I think there's a niche deck for this, and it's going to be very interesting to see if that deck rises, it could be much higher.
And to be fair, like there is a world where this does snowball, right? And now all of a sudden, like, you know, it's a very dominating card. So it's possible. Yeah.
Oh, within 2 turns, this thing's won the game.
Exactly.
If you don't have like an exile effect, like that last chapter doesn't even really matter.
No, it's just the fact you're getting 3 White Knight tokens every single turn for free is crazy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't know what you do about this if it actually sticks. So it's an interesting, as far as a big monster to reanimate, it's a different approach to that.
I think it's cool.
Yep. So
also the fact that we have saga creatures now. Neat.
I'm excited to get your take on this card for Standard.
Cecil, Dark Knight. I believe this is one of the first cards they revealed because the art looks familiar. It's 1 black for a 2/3 with Death Touch. That's already very pushed. Whenever Cecil deals damage, you lose that much life. Then if your life total is less than or equal to half your starting life total, untap and transform him into Cecil Redeemed Paladin, which is a legendary creature, human knight with lifelink. Very funny, you can get the life back. Protect. Whenever Cecil attacks, other attacking creatures gain indestructible until end of turn. This seems very good. I feel like for like a aggro deck, they would love this card, and they don't really care about their life total. Not to mention, if you transform Cecil, you just get all the life. You don't get all the life back immediately necessarily, but you have a way to get the life back to sort of like stabilize yourself if you transform him, which is quite good. And if you're saying the format's already very fast, I feel like the format would benefit from a card, that format would welcome a card like this, I want to say. Because it's like, this card's very fast. So, I don't know. This card seems pretty good. The only point of life that matters is your last. So, I mean, like, you've seen me when I play Commander. I do not care about my life in the slightest.
So, you play the game well, that's for sure.
I would play Cecil. I like him. I don't know how good, like, the black decks are at this point. And like what other stuff like synergizes with this, but he's so annoying because he has Death Touch too. That's crazy. So then he just like, so when it says he deals damage, that even counts to minions, right? That doesn't also count the showing face. Okay. So like, but even then, like, do you care? I don't think you care. Because then you get like a 4/4 lifelinker. Like if you just start bringing these guys out and just getting mega aggressive, and I'm sure there might be like red stuff to pair with this too. I don't know. He seems pretty good. What do you think?
Seems really good to me too. So 1 mana 2/3 Death Touch. That rate is already like,
that already seems
your
crazy.
Eyes get big. Yeah. There's a black deck. There is a good black deck in the format. I would say B tier pushing A. Okay. Right. The black card pool is deep and it has a lot of good options. And like, I don't know why you wouldn't play like 2 or 3 of these. The biggest problem is that it's not good in multiples. That's the biggest problem. But
is it not?
How bad? Because it's legendary.
Oh, that's right. It's legendary. Okay. I was like, oh damn, I'd slam multiple of these down to me.
I mean,
but yeah,
you could. There's a case for still playing for, because it trades with anything.
It does trade with anything. Right.
Yep.
You just bring out another one.
Just block with it. Yeah.
Right. And you just need your life to be half to be able to transform him anyway. So
yeah, so whether you're working on your own life total going down, which Black has many cards that work on this, we might see one later. But Unholy Annex is a really popular Black card that makes you lose life to draw cards. That's really good now.
I like that.
So like you're already having your own life total in a matchup where you're not under pressure. In a matchup where you're under pressure, I've untapped on turn 3 with less than half my life. It's not that hard. And with the help of Cecil, like you're transforming this into the Paladin like so quickly. It is a bit of an issue, right, that you have to deal damage with Cecil to untap the Paladin, but it puts them in a bind, like because the Paladin untaps and then is immediately available for defense. So if you are at 11 and you attack with this card, and say your opponent has a 3 mana card that they put 3 mana into.
Right.
Do they trade with this?
Exactly. It seems so like mana inefficient to do that. This is a 4 for me. Straight up. This is a 4. This card rocks.
I think so too. And again, we don't have color identity in Standard, so you don't have to play black-white. You can just anything with black. Anything with black can be run in this. This can be your turn 1 play. It can trade with everything the red deck throws at you. Dude.
It seems really pushed. It seems really pushed for sure. And again, like I said, the MO for them wanting to sell these cards, right? I think they want them to be pushed because they want them to see play. I think that's the case for a lot of Magic sets, but I think specifically because it's a Final Fantasy collab, they want to like think of the best interest of like what they're working on with them, right? And I think they want these cards to be around for quite some time. So 4. Yeah, straight up. I think you're in agreement. I am.
I'm going 4. I'm going 4 on Cecil. I wanted to go 3.
I'm kind of regretting my cloud at 4, but that's okay.
I really wanted to go 3 to have something to argue about, but I just can't with this card.
It looks so good. It looks so good.
Now we're going to rate a reprint. Are you ready to rate a reprint?
I'm ready to rate a reprint. Also, the art looks so good on Cecil, too, for the record. I mean, I think that helps in cards sometimes. I think it does. Hey, I know this card. It's coming back?
Bob.
Hell yeah.
This is a big deal because not only did they bring it back, they brought it back at Mythic, and this has not been a Standard card in forever.
Hey, look at cards that lose you life for your Cecil.
I know. I told you we'd see one.
We would. This is Dark Confidant, a card I actually know for once. This is 1 and a black for a human wizard, 2/1. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to its mana value. 4. Not 4. Just rating it a 4. Don't even have to talk about it. 4.
We don't even have to talk about it. I think we do.
Okay, we'll talk about it. Maybe I'm getting overzealous here, but like I love this effect. I think this is a really cool effect, especially after seeing Cecil. I think it's just like even better in that case because then you're getting more card value. You're lowering your life total, like to just help you, like if you get to like Cecil Redeemed Paladin, which honestly is like a debate if you even want to turn it over because like you're switching a Death Toucher for a life linker, but the stats are obviously better. And it sort of helps you stabilize. But then if you have Cecil and Dark Confidant, you have this like sick combo where you're always getting extra cards, but your life total might be like at parity. Like, or like you're just, so like that's really good too to be like giga aggro there. But maybe there's a world where Dark Confidant is just like too slow. Like, I mean, you said this card hasn't been reprinted in forever, but I don't know. This card just seems bonkers to me. So that's why I want to just immediately say 4. 3, like maybe, I'm getting in between 3 and 4 for sure though.
Oh, okay. I'm going to say my piece. I'm going to devil's advocate this. Okay. I love Dark Confidant. Right. I think this is such a play to get those wild cards moving and get those packs selling. I think people will be all over this because if they're coming back to Magic because of Final Fantasy, Dark Confidant is probably a card they remember from the day, back in the day.
Back in my day.
Super popular card. I don't think the years have been good to Dark Confidant.
You think it's too slow?
I don't. Oh man, I don't know like where a 2/1 gets to attack. It's definitely not much of a blocker. And I see it next to Cecil and I'm like, I see these things together as a very good thing if you're not under pressure. If you are under pressure, I'm terrified.
Which you said the format's very fast. You said the format's very fast. Okay.
Yep. And so Cecil is, yes, yes, Cecil makes you lose life. Cecil also helps you get it back and becomes a 1-mana card you have to answer. And it's a 2/3, so that 3 toughness matters. Like, there's a lot of spells that can't kill or remove Cecil as easily, and it trades with everything. Dark Confidant, I look at a 2/1 and I think about how, like, back in the day, you play a Dark Confidant. Yeah, and it's like, well, if I just have to block with this, I block with this. I attack into their stuff. They don't want to block it, but they have to because they don't want me to get card advantage. And nowadays, I picture so many decks will look at Dark Confidant and be like, it doesn't block anything. I don't care if it's on the board. They're going to die too quickly. And if they flip over... The card Unholy Annex is a very interesting card. I don't know if I've shown you this card at all. I've not seen it. I don't think I have. So this is a room card. Yeah. Let's get it out. Let's get out Unholy Annex. This is like the premier like black card advantage card currently that sees play. I am sorry. How do I rotate you?
It's okay. I'm just turning my head at a 90-degree angle. It's fine.
Well done.
At the beginning of your end step, draw a card. If you control a demon, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Otherwise, you lose 2 life. Okay. So basically, you get an extra card for 2 life every turn, which is basically like Dark Confidant, but you don't have to play it as a creature. And it's a little bit more expensive because it's a 3-drop.
And when you do land a demon, it goes the other way. The drain goes the other way.
Sure.
Matters as similar to Cecil, right? You gain the life back.
Yep.
When you're ready to start dropping demons. So let me ask you a question.
Sure.
We're going to get rulesy, all right? How much life do you think you lose if you reveal this card with your Dark Confidant?
You lose life equal to its mana value. Oh, this is a fun question because it's a card that has 2 mana values. What's it, 3 and 5? You take 8? Is it both?
Yes.
That's gross. Okay, that's a reason not to play Dark Confidant then. I'm going to Dark Confidant, reveal this, lose 8 life. I mean, I guess it gets your Cecil closer to Redeem Paladin a lot quicker, but still, I don't know if that's worth it.
And people will say, just don't run this then and run Dark Confidant instead. Valid, but you are disqualifying one of the better black cards and changing the deck almost entirely around Dark Confidant, which now you need Dark Confidant to live. Because on Unholy Annex... It often lived.
Right, because it's an enchantment versus a creature. And notably, you get the card at the end step versus your next upkeep, which does matter because if you draw into like an instant or something, you can play it during your opponent's turn if you have the mana to do so.
Bingo.
So, yeah, maybe you've convinced me. I still think he might be a player. He just might not be like at the forefront like I initially thought. So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's a cool card. I'm gonna give him a 3. I think he will find some home somewhere. I don't think he's worthy of going down to a 2, but if you want to do that to our boy, feel free.
I think I agree with you, but it's so hard to give Dark Confidant a 3 because all those things are true. And yet against a deck that doesn't deal with it, and you just like turn 1, maybe duress a discard card and take the removal spell and turn 2 land this and start getting 2 cards a turn. It snowballs so hard.
It's pretty good.
I want to go against you for the sake of content. I badly do. I wish you had stayed at 4. I can't do it. I do think Bob has gone to a 3. And
also
I think
the nostalgia, right? I think
the
nostalgia carries it too, to an extent that people are going to want to play it just because they have the memories of it. That happens with Yu-Gi-Oh! All the time.
The good news is as competitive as we are with each other, the audience can be just as competitive with us. Because now if we're both wrong, we both get burned by the internet.
We're in this ship together, buddy. We're in this. At this point, it's really if Cloud lives or dies. But looking at the rest of these cards, I think I'm way off on this one. So we'll see.
Let's grab another card.
What do we got? You haven't shown me a blue card yet. I'm kind of surprised, to be honest.
Well, it's true.
Or is that best for
funny?
Last? Haha.
What's funny is there aren't very many blue cards on my list. That is so. At this time, I'm only showing you cards that have been revealed to the public.
That's true.
There will be more. So you might not get to evaluate as many blue cards as you want to. Let's do a red card.
We got Zeldinched. I probably butchered that, but I didn't play Final Fantasy VIII, to be fair. 2 and a red for a legendary creature human monk. That is an 0/3. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. That is very weird for red, of all things. Okay. Gets +1/+0 for each land you control. So when you play it, he should be a 3/3, possibly. Then at the beginning of your end step, return a land you control to its owner's hand. Oh, that's neat. Okay. Huh. So you can play an extra land, but then you're always bouncing a land back. But you can still get the value out of it because if you tap it and you bounce it, you still get to play with it. This is very interesting for like landfall decks.
Of which there hasn't been in Standard in a really long time.
Yeah, I'm thinking about just generally, though. But like the fact that it gives you an extra land, so then you get 2 landfall triggers, but then also it bounces one back, so you have a landfall trigger for the next turn, or possibly 2 if you have another land. I feel like in Commander, that could be possibly abusable.
Oh, yeah. And it's not also a common ability for red. This is
right. The fact that it's red, this seems like a green
card
to me, not a red card. It's red because of the third effect, if anything, that it like gives you the land back, but still. I feel like this is definitely like breaking the color pie from my understanding of it.
I'm wondering if this is going to be a one-off or if this is going to be a trend that this is how red ramps. Because historically, the only way to ramp in red is like rocks, which they don't like printing a lot of 2-mana tap for 1-mana cards in Standard because the world doesn't really need more of them. Like, it's kind of a boring thing to include, to be honest.
Okay.
So this might be the new, just like red got card draw. Red didn't have any card draw for the longest time. Then red got the ability to, what you would do is like exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn, you know, and that was red, unquote, card draw. It's impulsive card draw is what they call it. This might be like impulsive
ramp. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting design for sure. I'm not sure how this slots in with like the aggressive red decks that exist now, but it is, this is weird because you're also kind of limited by how much land you have, right? So then you have this weird juggling act where this card can be crazy for helping you ramp each turn to help you do your crazy stuff, but at the same time, if you don't have the land to like facilitate it, then like he doesn't really do anything, and actually he's almost like a detriment to you. Then he's also fighting for the slots in. You said the games are ending on like turn 3, turn 4, turn 5. He's fighting for the slot with every other 3-mana card that could be used to like just kill the opponent straight up. So I feel like this is more like a commander card than a standard card.
Possibly. There are, though, one thing that we have to watch now for as long as this is in the format is lands that enter the battlefield and do something beneficial, right?
Sure.
So they've already revealed a number of the adventure towns, which we'll get into, but basically these are lands that have another side to them that's like a spell. There are lands that cycle. This card is revealed. This card just came out, and this is what makes me think, okay, maybe there is something against the red decks.
Interesting. When this enters, you gain 2 life, and it just taps for a colorless. This is Adventures in. Right, so that's sort of a hedge against the aggressive decks to possibly slow them down.
Yeah, and honestly, returning a land to your hand does make sure that you kind of get to use the ability every turn, because the way these cards often work is you play them, you get an extra ramp 1 turn, and maybe if you have a really high land density in your deck, the next turn you get to do it again, but then you're usually out of lands, and you're just playing like you normally would.
Adventures In's not a legendary either, so there's a world where if you have 2 of this and Zell, you're gaining 4 life a turn, and you still have mana to make plays. And then you bounce one of them back, so then it gives you an extra 2. So, like, I don't know. That might be a bit too cope, but, like, it's something.
It makes it hard for red decks to kill you. That's a start. And it gets you closer to casting giant monsters.
But you also need Zell, and you also need, like, this card. Maybe there's other cards that do similar stuff, sure. And then it's like, would you just rather play better lands, if there are better lands? Because I don't know the cycle, but...
Can't find a better land. That's a song. I just thought of a song.
That is a song, indeed. I'll give him a 2. I don't know. I'm not fully sold on it. I feel like if like I'm not seeing it. I think it's like too many things have to go right for this to be good. I feel like in Commander, this card might have a lot more opportunity to shine, but I think it's Standard, especially if you're saying how fast it is. If Standard wasn't as fast, if you said it was slower, I would think this card goes up. But I think with how fast it is, I'm not buying it.
There are the loops. There's the loops with the adventure lands that are tempting, and we'll get into the adventure lands. In fact, maybe we'll rate those after this. I struggle with Zell. There's other things you can do by returning lands. A pretty good one is all of what's called the rummage card draw in red, which is discard a card to draw a card. There's a number of cheap and good ways to do that. So you can turn those lands into other cards. But all this dirtle, does all this dirtle matter when people are just dying
That's what I mean.
So quickly? And
there might be that's why I gave it a 2. Like there might be some niche deck that's like the anti-aggro deck or something like that. Maybe, but I was tempted to give it a 1. I'm not going to lie. So if you want to give it the 1, feel free.
I don't want to give it the 1. I want it to be good, but I'm going to give it the damn 1. We're going unplayable. We're doing it for the sake of the
He's
content.
Committing.
I'm not sure how much I fully believe that, but this is definitely the kind of card that people try to rationalize and then a month later don't play at all. It's a wild card eater sometimes. So if this card proves me wrong, that's what we'll do. But you get 1 for your weird landfall impersonation.
You just want to be a contrarian too and not agree with me. At the same time, 3 cards in a row or 4 cards in a row now.
Probably true. I think we'll rumble a bit more. Let's do some of these adventure lands because they're very interesting. The towns are interesting.
Sure. You already showed me the inn. This is Ishgard, the Holy See. This is a land town that has 2 different abilities. The regular land ability is that it enters in tapped and you just get to add a white. And then it has a sorcery effect. So I imagine if you don't want to use the land, like as a land, you can like play this as a sorcery from your hand if you draw it like on turn 5. Is that how that works?
Yes, but the parenthesis text there at the back says, then exile this card. So after you cast the spell side, exile this card, then you may play the land later from exile.
Oh, that's neat. So you still get to actually use it for the land. That's cool. Okay. So for the sorcery adventure side of this, it says Faith and Grief. It's 3 and 2 white, so 5 total. Return up to 2 target artifact and or enchantment cards from your graveyard to your hand. And then as you said, you could play it as a land later from exile, which is nice because that means you could still just play it as your land on like turn 6 or something. Even though the enter's tapped, but still. Tap land, I imagine in standard when you're dying very quickly is not particularly good. When you're saying
it's not ideal.
And when you're saying when games are ending as quick as they are, the sorcery effect also doesn't seem particularly good. So what are we doing here? This might be my first.
It's value. You draw 2 cards and you get a land. It's
value.
Like, it's an ancestral recall.
And then you die on the next turn, CGB, if you're not dead already before you see this card. This is my first one. I'm not seeing it.
Dude, I put 1 in the moment I put 1 in the moment I showed this card.
I'd love to be wrong, but I'm not seeing it. The game would have to be so much slower for this to be good. Yeah, especially because it comes in tapped. Like, come on.
The devil's advocates are going to say opportunity cost. The opportunity cost is so low because it's just a tapped land. You die for tapped lands in this standard. That's
how it seems. That's how it seems. Yeah.
Also, the mana bases that would be willing to take turns off to get this value, they are the ones who can least afford these lands. And the reason for that is the Verge cycle. I'm going to get into the weeds a little. I don't want to show you all of them. I'm just going to try to explain the mana base thing in standard briefly. The Verge cycle, these are lands that basically become dual lands if you control another land with a type. Okay. And this Ishgard, it's a land town, but it's not a land plains town. So it doesn't work with the Verges. What you want to do is play Surveil lands, which are lands that enter tapped, let you look at your top card and have 2 types to turn on the Verges so that you can play your very clean but slightly slower 2 and 3 color mana bases to compete with opponents who are doing insanely powerful things. The other mana bases that are popular that are not Verge based are just running a bunch of the dual lands that deal you damage or have some other drawbacks but come in untapped so you can play fast and furiously. This is neither.
No,
this literally fits neither. And that's something you have to take into account with all of these towns is like, what deck do they fit? So let's do another one.
Okay.
Because people are really hyped about these. I think they're kind of commander-y, but
hey, Xanarkand, Final Fantasy
yeah.
X, Ancient Metropolis, another land town which also enters tap but adds green, and then for 4 and 2 green, so 6 total, you get to play Lasting Faith as a sorcery adventure. Create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token, put a +1/+1 counter on it for each land you control. So by that point, like if you have 6 lands, it's a 7/7. And then you can exile it and play it later as a land, but you're going to be dead way before that. So 1.
You give this one a 1? I think
it's slightly better than the other one, I feel, but even then, it's still so expensive. Like you said, the games are ending before you're even going to cast this card. And granted, you're in green, so maybe you can ramp into it a little bit quicker. Like maybe you could get this on turn 4, like right before you die, and then you get to play like a 7/7 or something. Okay. Sure, then Cecil just fucking trades with whatever with the hero, and then it doesn't matter, so you're dead anyway. So I'm 1.
If there's ever a control deck back in the format that's just trying to answer everything, this is a land that produces a threat. It's, that's not terrible, and I think this will see a lot of play in various formats. Oh, you want me to give it a 2, don't you?
For the contrarian's sake, yes, I do. I'm not gonna lie, but
the fact that this can be a creature, I think more people will run one of it than you think. But the big problem is, like, what is a green deck right now in the format? It's either really, really slow, like Overlord decks that do rely on types. They need domain for Leyline Binding, meaning they get a cost reduction for the different types of lands they have, but this doesn't count as one of those types of lands.
Okay.
So that doesn't seem good. And then it doesn't cast Llanowar Elves on turn 1. So I'm with you. It's another 1.
Yeah.
It's another 1. I promise not all of these will get 1s from me, but this is another 1.
Okay.
So let's do the red one.
Like like I said, if you didn't say the game was as fast as it is, I would probably be tempted to give it a 2. But even then, I still think it's a tough one. Lindblom Industrial Regency. This is FF9, another one I've not played. This is another tap land. This one's for red, but for Mage Siege, 2 and a red. This is an instant, notably, not a sorcery. Create an 0/1 black wizard creature token with whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this token deals 1 damage to each opponent. Slightly more playable because of the cheaper adventure cost. That's also an instant, so you could do it on your opponent's turn, but I don't know why you would, considering like the ability.
I mean, hold up mana to do something else. The opponent plays around it. They hold back. You end step do this and get a cheeky 2 for 1.
But like at that point, is there just way better 3 drops instead of making an 0/1 black wizard that just deals 1 damage to each opponent? Probably.
In an aggressive deck, yes. But in terms of like what I'm picturing is you're in one of those many positions in Standard where some people are going to roast me in the comments. I'm sure they've done it already, that game's ending on turn 3 and 4. What I mean when I say it's fast, the amount these games can end on turn 3 and 4.
Sure.
That is the threat of the aggro deck, and sometimes they pull it off. The format has become so interactive. The pressure on each turn is so high to disrupt what the opponent is doing.
Damn, this sounds like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, if you're going to get a game to turn 7, it's because you had 3 or 4 perfectly timed, proper disruptive spells against aggressive decks. Like, that is a lot of pressure. That is a tapped land means you don't cast one of those on times means you could die.
Right.
And this card I see in one of those spaces of like a 3-mana board clear, which do exist in Standard, is what the opponent has on their mind. So you, the aggressive deck, you have your 2 threats, you attack with them, you don't play more into the board. The opponent untaps for their turn 3. They have to play their sweeper. They have to clear the board, because if they don't, the 2 creatures on board are strong enough to win the game. And on end step, like, you make one of these little wizards, untap, cast a few spells, and you're back in the driver's seat of putting pressure on the opponent, and you didn't do nothing with your turn. I think that is a thing that is very valuable in Magic, is the way to do something with your turn and your mana in a situation that would otherwise be bad for you.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. 1.
Okay. Interesting. Well, I'm glad, because I'm going to fight you on this one. I think this is closer. It's close to a staple. I think a few red decks will play a copy of this no matter what. I'm going to give it a 3. I'm going to give this a 3.
I was going to give it a 2, but like even then, I just feel like there's way more productive ways to use your mana and this is with me not knowing the format. I just like, this seems for what the decks that are trying to play it are trying to do. This just, I don't disagree with your hypothetical about the board wipe and everything. That still just seems way too slow. I feel like at that point, you would just like, at that point, just get as mega aggressive as possible. Just play into the board wipe. And also, they have to have the board wipe. So there's that too. I'm not buying it. I think it's a 1.
All right. I think it's going to be like a 1 of.
Okay.
Just a 1 of in a bunch of the red aggressive strategies, including the prowess strategies. I think this goes really good in prowess.
Okay. All right. Fair.
We have a 2-point differential, Cimo.
That's the biggest differential. Oh no, that's not true because we had a 2-point differential at the beginning as well. So.
All right. I've got one more of these adventure lands that's been revealed so far. This is the most CGB one. It's the blue one.
Oh, that's probably going to be broken in that case. All right, Jidor, Aristocratic Capital, another town that enters in tapped, but for a blue, and Overture, 4 and 2 blue for a sorcery. Target opponent mills half their library rounded down, then exile this card and play it later from exile. I love you, buddy, but I'm not feeling it.
No?
And you're telling me that your reward for waiting to turn 6 is to mill your opponent halfway, and that's assuming you're not dead before then?
Yeah, that's what we're telling you.
Not buying it. I'm not buying it. You can try to convince me on this one, but I think the other one, the one we just looked at, the Lindblom, is better than this.
You still going with a 1? Or you want to hear what I have to say first?
I want to hear what you have to say. I'm in the 1 camp. I'll
Okay.
But what do you got?
So this is the win con of a number of blue-black and blue-white control decks currently. And you don't have to read... Yeah, you don't have to read the whole thing, just the bottom line.
Jace, the Perfected Mind. 2 blue... What is that other mana symbol called?
Phyrexian blue.
Isn't that the one where you can like pay 2 life?
You can pay 2 life or a blue.
Yep. Right, okay.
Yep.
Target player mills 3 times X cards. I see. So... You can, in Disneyland, mill half their deck and then use this Planeswalker and mill the rest of their deck. Because by that point, let's see. You can play this before. Then you can play Jidor on 6. Maybe if you can ramp into it a little bit, like 5. You mill half their deck. They're down to 30, but they opened with 7, so they're down to 23. They've drawn a card for turn for 6 turns, so they're down to 17, and that's assuming they haven't gotten anything else out of the deck. You're starting at 5, so you get to mill them for 15. So basically, if you pull this off, you're going to mill them out. Or they're going to be on, 1 card, essentially.
Yep.
Okay.
What do you think?
5 loyalties, I feel like a lot to remove, too.
It's pretty high. Now, you can play it for the 3 mana. If you play it for the 3 mana cost, it only comes in with 3 loyalty, but it's an option.
Sure, but you can still play this prior to Jidor anyway.
Yep.
And that would be your game plan, I assume, is just play Jace, hope it sticks, and then you Jidor them and the game's just over.
Yep.
That's pretty fast, too. You could play this, green-blue, have some ramping capability, and you can actually get to this a lot quicker. Because most of it's generic mana.
I'm going to show you... This is the card that won the World Championship last year in conjunction with Jace the Perfected Mind. This is Doomsday
this is the card you played against us in Commander in our first
I did. I played it in Commander. So this combo, Jace plus Doomsday Excruciator, won the World Championship.
Wow.
Now, if they are running... the 6-mana demon that basically mills the opponent down to 6 to then mill them out with Jace. Wouldn't it be... I mean, then they can definitely play Jidor. It might even be easier to just play Jidor because...
I think it is easier. Yeah.
I don't know how many times running this deck after I saw it do well in the championship, I'm just staring at a Doomsday Excruciator this is not the best card right now.
Well, it's the same color. It's sort of...
It's hard
it's
to
just
cast.
It's a better version, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
showing me this, I'm more of a believer.
Basically, what we're saying is if Jace the Perfected Mind is on the board and the opponent doesn't remove it, they have to, while Jace is on the board, think about, what if I get Jidor next turn?
Right.
And, do I lose on the spot?
Right. And that's threatening. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has stuff like that all the time. Where it's if they have, you set up one card, and if they have the second card, then it's just GG.
Yep.
I guess this does check a lot of boxes. It seems like you can speed this up too, like where it doesn't have to wait for 6 for Overture.
It's true. There are other cards that mill in the format, including a card that for 4 mana mills an opponent equal a number of cards in their graveyard.
Okay.
That is also a knockout type blow.
I was more thinking about the ramping aspect because you're playing like green-blue, right? You can go like turn 1 Llanowar, so you have like turn 3, or turn 2, you have 3 mana. And then you can play Jace on 2.
You can
have a blue. If you have a blue, you can play Jace on 2, which like I don't know if you would want to do that necessarily, but like you could.
Stop giving me ideas, man. If there's a turbo mill deck I can play in standard, oh boy.
Because I'm thinking at that point you'd rather just ramp again on 3. So then you ramp, so then you're at 5 on 3. You can play Jace on that, and then hold mana up for a counterspell to defend Jace, and then if you have Jador, you just win the game.
Bang, bang.
And you're saying there's other enablers and stuff too. Okay, all right, you're selling me. To be fair, I didn't see the combo at first. So like, if I knew there was like an enabler to just automatically mill them and win, I'd feel differently. But
see, I'm a nice guy. I'm helping out.
Is this going to be a staple?
You've gone first almost every time. So
well, that's the point, because then it doesn't influence. If you guess first, it might influence my decision because you're the actual person who knows what these cards do.
Okay.
So I'll keep going first. I
like that.
I'll give it a 4. Like at the end of the day, it's still a land. It's a crappy land, but it's still a land. I'll give it a 4. It's gonna be a 3 or a 4. Because like, I guess it depends on how much you really want to go in on this strategy to like, but to me, I don't see why you wouldn't just play 4 of both of these, because these are like how you're gonna win the game. So not necessarily win the game, but like it's the easiest way for you to win the game. So I'll give it a 4. Screw it.
I'll go 3. I'm nervous about running that many copies. I'm worried about mana bases. I'm just thinking about like the dynamics of a mana base, but you might be really right. Like this might just be
is Yu-Gi-Oh! Brain. Yu-Gi-Oh! Brain, you optimize the cards that are gonna like achieve your combo. Like regardless of if you draw multiples, you suck it up. Like you just want to see the combo. So
yeah,
that's just our philosophy.
The downside of multiples is very low. You just hit your land drop. And they can win the game. In a way, they can win the game on their own, especially against like a combo deck. You might hit their whole combo.
And to be fair, you can also, with this strategy, afford to just have this come in as a tap land, because if you are like in this world of playing this green-blue ramp mill, right, you can afford, like, because as long as you just stick Jason and stick Jador, like, you can take a turn off in between there. It's not ideal, but, like, you could if you need the land. So it still does function as a slower land at the end of the day. That's the way I'm looking at it. It does have alternate utility.
Indeed. All right.
We'll see, though. We'll see.
We will see. We'll absolutely see. I'm actually looking forward to this one quite a bit.
I'm kind of curious. Yeah, this is the most interesting thing you've showed me this far, I will say.
All right. Let's do some graveyard shenanigans. You like graveyard shenanigans?
I do, very much so. Ooh, what do we got here? Cool art. Esper Origins. 1 and a green for a sorcery. Surveil 2. You gain 2 life. If this spell is cast from a graveyard, exile it, then put it onto the battlefield transformed under its owner's control with a finality counter on it. If a creature with a finality counter on it would die, exile it instead. Okay. And then you can flash it back for 4. So you can play it for 2, surveil 2, gain 2 life, and then you can flash it back for 4 later on. All right, what do we turn it into? Esper Maduin. This is another enchantment creature saga, very fitting of all of the Espers. For 1, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a permanent, put it into your hand, which is nearly everything. On 2, you get to add 2 green, and then on 3, other creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain trample until end of turn. Cool little card.
Yeah, it's kind of neat.
You can start us off. I'm thinking. The wheels are turning.
Yeah. So the first thing that comes to my mind on this one is you have to cast it from the graveyard.
Yeah.
And because on its own, you go down a card, you gain a little value, but you go down a card, and you basically spend 2 mana to throw this in the bin along with some other cards. The card will definitely be at its best, one, if you can just throw it in your graveyard in some other way while getting some other advantage, which there are a number of ways to do that.
Say, it seems like there's plenty of ways to do that. Yeah.
Yep, not hard to do. And then the other great thing is you cast it from your graveyard without paying that 4 mana flashback cost. If you can cast it from the graveyard for cheaper, like we are really doing the thing. This is one of the most powerful, like, kind of graveyard driving cards at the moment, Founding the Third Path. And the important chapter here at the is like chapter 1 would cast this for free. Chapter 2 would fill your graveyard more. And chapter 3 would let you cast it from the graveyard, right? Is that what that says? It says exile it. Wait a minute. Does that not work? If it was cast from a graveyard, exile it. If you're exiling it and then you copy it, and you cast the copy, was that from the graveyard? Probably not. Maybe that doesn't work.
I was about to say.
Gross. That
the comments will tell us. They know everything.
That's really sad. Why would they do that? There are others. So I have Songcrafter Mage. This is a recent printing. It's basically a flash 3/2 that would let you cast this card for 1 mana, right?
Okay.
And then when you do that, it comes out of the graveyard. It gives you that value, and then it transforms. That's pretty good to get a 4/4 for like 1 mana, kinda. And do you have the 3/2? I feel like we need more. What do you think?
I feel like it's a bit too slow given what you're saying the state of Standard is like now. I think it's decent, but I don't know. I feel like if it were slower, you would see a lot more benefit from this. So
I'm not gonna lie, I might have taken a point off it just for the Founding the Third Path non-interaction that I thought I had there. That hurt.
I like you realize that in real time. I like you realize that in real time that it doesn't work. Yeah.
Sad. I don't think it works. But like Founding the Third Path is a heck of a card because it's almost really free. It's almost free if you're casting the spell with chapter 1. It's 4 graveyard value for nothing, and then chapter 3 is like another free piece of value. In this case, also a 4/4 body, but apparently not. Apparently not. That hurts. That punches me in the gut.
I think I'll give it a 2. Like maybe there's some weird deck that finds a way to like take advantage of it, like we're talking about. But I'm not seeing every deck playing Esper Origins. It's not seeing it. Like you said, you go down a card. Like the idea is you get the card back, and that's like what sort of like gives you back the value. And like you said, there's ways to cheat it out, but. Maybe in some niche deck, I could see them trying to pull something like this off, but I'm not seeing this in every deck, like our friend Cecil or anything like that.
Spiteful 1.
Wow, Spiteful 1. Wow.
I'm very upset that my cool
just because it doesn't work with a blue card. He already puts it to a 1.
I'm so unhappy. I'm extremely unhappy right now. I'm on tilt in a way I've never been. No, it's
That's
not
funny.
true. Okay, enough of these green cards. They're trash. Black card.
Zodiark, Umbral God. I love Zodiark. He makes his appearance in many Final Fantasy games. He is 5 black mana for a 5/5 indestructible god. When he enters, each player sacrifices half the non-god creatures they control of their choice rounded down. Very fun. And when a player sacrifices another creature, put a +1/+1 counter on Zodiark. Okay. Unfortunately, they get to choose what they're sacrificing, which is never good.
It's not great.
No.
You are in black. You can kill a lot of stuff.
You can kill a lot of stuff, yeah. But at the same time, it still doesn't feel great at the end of the day. The fact that it's like 5 black means you basically have to play this in like a mono black deck. Like you're not like doing any tricks to like ramp into this.
Right. You can reanimate it, I guess.
Yeah, you can reanimate it because it's when he enters. So
probably a lot better things to reanimate.
That's what I was thinking. It's a fine card. It's just standard.
Yeah, rounded down is not great. Indestructible
rounded down
great,
is also
but rounded down, ugh.
They get to choose. It's rounded down. I feel like this is more of like a commander card, if anything.
Honestly, the wider boards, yeah, I start to wonder that too. It seems good against. Is it even good there? I'm thinking like they have Corey Steelcutter and like 4 monks, and they sack half of them, and you block one of them, you still die to the other one. I don't know.
So
yeah. Umbral God.
I think give him a 1, to be honest.
Whoa. But he's so
he's cool.
Look at him.
He's cool.
He's so
but
cool.
For standard, like I said, I think he has playability in other places, but for standard, this seems like a lot.
Commander
even for the
card,
reanimator decks, it seems like there's better things to reanimate.
Fine, I'll give him a 1/2. I will.
You just wanted me to pick two so you could pick one. That's really what this was.
It honestly is. I'm just trying to bait hooks and fish a lot. I'm doing a lot of fishing, but that's okay. I think you're right.
I'm not raring.
You're not.
It's a lot easier to leave the trail of breadcrumbs for him, for sure.
There's got to be a way I can edit this to get a classic raring moment right there. All right. Here's a card.
Oh, hell yeah. Lightning, Army of One. Anyway, this is a red and a white for a legendary creature, Human Soldier, and a very good one because it has First Strike, Trample, and Lifelink, and Stagger, which is very fitting for Final Fantasy 13, one of the ones I did play, in fact. Whenever lightning deals combat damage to a player until your next turn, if a source would deal damage to that player or a permanent that player controls, it deals double damage instead. Which is crazy because it's any source. It's not like it's like you pick something. It's just anything.
Yeah.
As a commander, this card seems very good. I think that people are going to brew with this quite well. Standard, you did say there's like very aggressive red decks in the format.
Uh-huh.
She doesn't have to deal combat damage to a player though. But she has trample, so that works, right?
Yep.
Okay. Just want to clarify that. Thank you. Still learning here. I guess it's like, without knowing the rest of the card pool, I'm curious how much, if she gets in and deals damage, I kind of wish she had haste. I think that's one thing I wish. It's like, instead of First Strike, I wish she had haste. Or like, instead of Lifelink or something, but that she might be too good. Like, I wonder how much for the super aggressive decks, how much, like, doubling the damage sources would do. Like, that seems very good. So it's like turn 3, you play her. Turn 4, you can attack with her. As long as she can beat something, then you get the effect. It's until your next turn. So you can even do it on your opponent's turn too. And you have 4 mana to basically just deal double damage with everything.
Yeah. It's a lot of damage. It seems like a lot of damage. I guess it's like, again, I don't know the other 3 drops this competes with. It's the biggest standard card pool of all time. You can get a number of things for 3 mana. There's plenty of 3/3s with haste. There's plenty of like aggressive creature options. There's also cards that make creatures, like there's a 3 mana card that makes a 1/1 goblin every combat that attacks. There's multiple cards like that make another threat every combat.
I guess it's just if she can actually get the combat damage to a player in. Because even with Trample, if she's competing against things with 3 toughness, she's not going to get in. Like Cecil, for instance.
Being a 1 mana card has a lot of advantages.
Yeah. Is it too slow for standard? It might be. But it's such a cool card. Like, I love Lightning. It's such a fun design.
Oh yeah, and the First Strike lets it hit, and the stuff that's in combat with Lightning gets double damage. Oh.
Can I ask a weird First Strike question? Because this is the thing I'm still learning. So if like she attacks a 3/3, but she has First Strike, if her damage is dealt first, does the thing die and she lives?
It does.
Okay.
Yes.
But she doesn't get the damage into the player if it's a 3. Okay, but she still lives, which is important.
Say it's a 3/2, then she would.
Yeah, in that case, she would live. That's totally fine. But does she still have the ability if No, yeah, First Strike. Yeah, she would. Yeah. Does First Strike work when she's defending too?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. That's also interesting because like if they're playing an aggressive deck and they choose to attack in and you block with Lightning, then that triggers it and you can start doing stuff like immediately. So there's like that angle too. God, she's such a cool card. I want to give her a 3 just because I think she's cool. Like I don't know with what everything else that's going on in standard if it's enough. Like she might be too slow with what you're saying, but she also might be like able to slot in as like a good 3-drop in the aggro decks that already exist. So I can't wait for you to tell me this card sucks and it's a 1, but I want to give her a 3. I think I'm biased here just because I like the game and I like her.
Well, that's why we had to have you on the show. This card's a 1. Such a 1. Oh, my goodness. So I like that it has lifelink and first strike because it may actually be able to try to defend you against the red decks, but I still think with all the prowess triggers, with the best card
just
in the red
enough.
decks being Monstrous Rage, it's just so hard to win combat with red. They can make things so huge. The mice get so freaking huge. And this is the thing I said about red aggressive cards in a much smaller standard format many years ago, but it holds true again and again. No haste, no place. All right.
I think her not having haste is a really big downside. If she did, I think we'd be having a much different conversation here.
Literally called lightning. What is this? What are we doing?
For Commander though, I think she rocks. I think she's fun for Commander.
I mean, in Commander, you can play a number of cards that grant haste. You can surround her with all the best haste enablers in the game.
Yeah, you got plenty of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Lightning Greaves, bam. Just set up all the double damage shenanigans you could possibly want. Yeah. But people being hyped about this in Standard, I'm like, dude, nobody plays a 3-mana card and then attacks with it the next turn and finds that to be a road to success.
It just seems so slow. It seems so slow.
So sad that
I let my bias get the better of me, but it's okay. It's okay.
We'll see. We'll see.
We still love you.
I mean, maybe Lightning.
Did you know there are 3 Final Fantasy 13s?
What?
They made 2 sequels to the original Final Fantasy 13. So there's Final Fantasy 13, there's Final Fantasy 13 2, and then there's Final Fantasy 13 3. I'm not joking.
You're monologuing to get away from this beating of cards that I'm laying down.
Correct.
I understand.
Correct. I'm distracted.
I understand.
Distracted.
All right. Here, you want a monologue? I'll give you a monologue. Let's read this card.
Terra, Magical Adept. This is 1 a red and a green for a legendary creature, human wizard warrior. We're just giving them all the tags. 4/2, notably. When she enters, mill 5, put up to 1 enchantment card milled this way into your hand. And then Trance for 4 a red and a green, so 6 total. You tap her, exile her, then return her transformed under its owner's control only as a sorcery. And she turns into Esper Terra, shocker. Another legendary enchantment creature saga wizard. And
yeah, you thought you had types before.
Correct. I was about to say, see, the interesting thing is Yu-Gi-Oh cards just have this much text, but we only have it on one side of the card. You have it on both sides now, so that's how they got away with it. The first 3 sagas creates a token that's a copy of a non-legendary enchantment you control. It gains haste. If it's a saga, put up to 3 lore counters on it and sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. Interesting. And then for the 4th part of the saga, you add double white, double blue, double black, double red, and double green, and you exile to return it to the battlefield with the front face up. So you get 10 mana on that. Okay, this card's crazy. It just has a lot going on with it, honestly.
It really does.
I mean, just her entering to mill 5 is pretty good. And then you get to just get an enchantment to hand. You can get the Esper song, Origins, whatever the hell the card was.
Can you?
It's an enchantment, isn't it?
On the back side.
Oh, on the back side it is. On
we're
the front
getting
sorcery.
Ruly. Yeah, it's a sorcery on the front. What's rules? We need rules, lawyers. Hello. Want to see the most played enchantment right now?
If you would like to show me the most played enchantment, that might help me, yeah, because I think I'm trying to figure that out. Fear of Missing Out. This is hilarious. 1 in a red for an enchantment creature Nightmare, so it is an enchantment. 2/3. When it enters, discard a card, then draw a card, okay? And then Delirium, when it has 4 more cards of different types. Yep. When it attacks for the first time each turn, if there are 4 more types in the graveyard, untap target creature. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. Oh, cute. Okay. So this basically helps set this up then. So not only can you just mill this and then add it to your hand, then you're setting up for Delirium potentially as well.
And if you make a copy of this with the backside of Esper Terra, that's 2 combats already.
That's cute. That's very cute.
With a 6/6, yeah, that game's over. Like,
yeah,
a 6/6 flyer, that's 18 damage. Yeah, you're done.
I'm just trying to think. Delirium. So there's a world where you could go like Fear of Missing Out turn 2, Terra turn 3, Terra Mills 5. You hit Delirium if you're lucky. And then you already have the ability to just start getting your extra combat phases to be like giga aggressive. But she can't attack though, because she doesn't have haste.
Yep. I mean, that's an expensive ability, by the way, on the trance. Yeah. Like, that's a lot of mana.
I mean, cool synergy. It's like
you're
crazy.
Do like a graveyard red-green is kind of an interesting thing that's been floating around. There is a red-green Delirium deck that is very fast. It can kill you on turn 3 with the right draw.
Okay. But does it need Terra is the question.
It's a good question.
It could be good for that deck, but it might just have better things.
Thinking about that deck, I think it had more trouble filling the graveyard than you wanted it to have. It often had to run cards on turn 1 that just filled graveyard and weren't aggressive. So
Terra fills that void potentially.
You'd far rather run Llanowar Elves into Terra. Like, you would be so much happier doing that than
seems way
running
better.
A turn 1 mill 2. Like Seed of Hope is the card I'm thinking of to the Magic fans.
I'll give her a 3.
I'll give her a 3?
I don't think she's going to be like... I don't think she'll be... I think she's more of like a supporting role. I think she's good, but I don't know if she's 4. She doesn't scream 4 to me.
All right. I'm going to go with a... I want to go with 2 because I think that the Delirium deck is the only home I can think of for it. But that doesn't mean like an enchantment deck won't be good. I wish... It looks like she should fly. Shouldn't she fly? Is that
she kind of has that look.
It looks like I know it's not an angel, but it looks like an angel. You know what I mean? I guess your knee is on the ground. It's the angle. The angle is what's throwing me. It looks like wings, but it's not. You're very much on the ground. So I'm gonna go with a 2. I'm gonna go a little lower on Terra for standard. But what a card. Like the card goes hard.
Card's very hard. Again, like I think if the standard wasn't as fast as you were saying, she would actually maybe be a 4 of in the right like format circumstances. But obviously that depends on the rest of the cards.
She also does a really unique job. Like red-green doesn't get mill like this. I was
about to say
this is new.
Yeah. It seems like they're experimenting a lot with like breaking the color pie philosophy.
I mean, then there's this card, which makes me... Well, it relates to some other cards that we've already shown, so...
Yuna, Hope of Spira. 3, a green and a white, so 5 total for a legendary creature human cleric. That is a 3/5. During your turn, Yuna and enchantment creatures you control have trample, lifelink, and ward 2. Interesting. Then at the beginning of your end step, return up to 1 target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Of your end step. So set up enchantments, and then only during your turn do they have those abilities, though. Which, like you said, enchantment removal is like not like super common anyway, so that's not that big of a deal.
It's more common than artifact, but less than creature. If that makes sense. Of course,
because creature is like the most common, so that would make sense.
I'm definitely going to call attention both to the Terra we just did, and remember Summon Knights of the Round from earlier?
Yeah, this is a way to just get that out.
That's a board. That's a full board in Hearthstone.
But this is also assuming you're getting to this point, because you're paying 5 mana for this, and that's assuming you have the Knights card already set up in the graveyard.
Yep. We can, at the same time, review another Final Fantasy card.
Okay.
Which is this one.
Summon Bahamut. 9 mana for a 9/9 flying enchantment creature Saga Dragon. First and second lore, destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. Seems pretty good. For 3 mana, you get to draw 2 cards. And for 4 mana, you get Mega Flare, fitting. This creature deals damage equal to the total mana value of other permanents you control to each opponent. That is very Mega Flare. I like that a lot. You only get to do the Saga after your draw step, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes. Well, when it enters, it triggers.
Oh, when it enters, it triggers.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So
that
the very
triggers
first
the first
trigger
one?
happens right away. Yep.
So you'd guarantee be able to pop something your opponent has.
Yep.
I still feel like this might be too slow. I think Commander, there's like a lot of cool stuff you can do with this, but I think for Standard, you're saying the games are ending as quickly as possible. If you do the dream, right, and do this and hit Knights or Bahamut, then you might be able to ward off the aggressive decks. But the thing is, I don't know if you can do that consistently enough with this deck. Granted, we have Terra. We can play 3 colors and Terra into hope we mill one of them, and then Yuna. So like maybe.
So currently in Standard, there's also a combo I'll show you. Here's the first card. You know this one.
Oh, I know Omniscience. Yeah, we don't have to read that one. Everyone knows that card.
This is a 5-mana way to get Omniscience. Also in Standard, in white right now, there's this card, which is basically 4 mana to get a 1/1 Omniscience, or to get a Bahamut, or to get a whatever else we've shown. So it's like a cheaper way to do the thing, but without getting the extra body that Yuna is.
Sure. But I still feel like it suffers from the issue of you need these cards to be set up first and not die before that happens. Otherwise,
yeah. Awakening Omniscience is one of the competitive decks in Standard now. Like,
really?
If you can do this thing on turn 4, like, you only need like 1 or 2 graveyard setup cards and then 1 stall card or an opponent to stumble slightly. And it is, like, with what the deck does, win the game on the spot.
Okay. So, I feel like you're baiting me.
I mean, it's like she's slower than the Awakening, right? But she's also 2 bodies that they have to deal with. They have to deal with the another card and herself.
I was going to say she's also just another version of Awakening, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like you have the added redundancy to make the combo more consistent.
Oh, yeah, and the deck loses if you don't find Awakening. I know this deck from experience. I got Mythic with it this month.
Okay, now where is this deck like in the like, are we talking tier 1? Like, where is this deck rank?
In best of 1, I've considered it tier 1 for a while. In paper, it just had a showing where it was the 2nd most played deck at the event.
Interesting.
And the format's considered to have like an S tier deck at the moment. It's the Steel Cutter Izzet deck. And Omniscience was the 2nd most played deck.
All right, I'll give her a 3. You've convinced me. Knowing that this combo exists, I think if you're adding the redundancy to it, this is a very Yu-Gi-Oh thing. Like, we'll play 12, 15 cards that basically do the same thing because that's like what we want to do for whatever it is our deck's trying to do. So in my mind, if you're adding another thing that does it and helps make it more consistent, then if it's already like a top tier, like borderline top tier deck, I think that this would slot right in my opinion. So sure, why not? Maybe the colors don't align. That could be an issue, but you already have to play the Awakening, which is white. So yeah,
the colors, the colors don't quite align because you have to add green, but it's not hard to add green to blue-white and play Bant and have some redundancy on your Awakenings. Also have just something that makes a body. It can also bring back something I also forgot to mention. The best card against Steel Cutter and other decks right now is called Temporary Lockdown. It's the best anti-aggro card, and it also happens to be an enchantment. So being able to get that back out of the graveyard from your graveyard strategy could be good. So I do see a lot of potential for this card, and I'm very tempted. I have a 4. God, I typed in a 4.
You typed in a 4 for this.
It's looking at me right now that it can be an important card in the format because I think it might hold down multiple decks. I don't know if I can do that because at the end of the day, it's still a 3/5. I like that it has the ward 2 during your turn. It's very hard for the opponent to just hold up mana and remove this, and it's a human. And naming human with Cavern of Souls means you can make this uncounterable. Ooh. So there's like, I can see this as a really good way to get your Omniscience in the combo deck. I can also see this as a really good card in the Overlord deck. We hadn't talked about those. The Overlord cycle from Duskmourn is a bunch of these very powerful mythics that are enchantment creatures as well. And on top of that, we have Fear of Missing Out. There's so many places I want to play Yuna, Hope of Spira, Up the Beanstalk. She's a 5-mana card, so you draw a card with Up the Beanstalk, and she can get another Up the Beanstalk. I'm just rambling now. Like, you can go big
convincing
reanimator.
Yourself to pick
you can
4,
go combo. You can go value. She's 5 mana, so I don't think she'll ever be like a 4 of. I think she'll always be a 1 of or a 2 of.
I think the cost is her biggest restrictor. Yeah.
Yep.
If it was like, if she was like 3, she'd probably be a 4 of, straight up.
I'm going with 3. I couldn't do it.
You wanted to be contrarian so bad. So bad.
But, dude, she's a mythic that goes into all these decks. She might be expensive.
She might be.
Time will tell on this review. I think she's kind of busted.
It'll be fun to come back to this one, for sure.
Oh, yeah. And especially the ward, meaning they can't even remove the omniscience. Like, they can't remove her. They can't remove the omniscience you get back. As long as you have instants and you can combo off in your end step, it's like they never interact unless they can pay ward, which is so hard to do. It's so hard. I love her. Love her. All right. Well, that is an hour and a half of reviewing Final Fantasy cards. We've taken a chunk out of the set. There's still a lot of the set to go. I'm definitely going to show a bunch of these to Rarin tomorrow and see how he rates them. We'll see who can get the more bangers out of the set. But what do you think? You think you got this?
Yeah, I think it's I definitely had some misses for sure, but I do think for the most part I feel pretty good about my choices, and I'm excited to see Cecil Rec Standard. That's going to be great.
Yes, Cecil on day 1. You've heard it here first.
Everyone's going to be playing that. It's so good.
Thank you for watching or listening to the Covert Go podcast. Remember to use the promo code CGBPOD at checkout on CoolStuffInc.com to show that you love the show. Also, subscribe on your audio platforms like Spotify and Apple Music and iHeartRadio. Leave a review with 5 stars, of course, for yours truly to help grow the show. Thank you for watching, and as always, you're cool.